on, girl, let's scream.
I am a god.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel. This is the part where you run.
Come on, scream.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Scream, a podcast where we dive into our favorite horror movies. I'm Parker.
And I'm Stevie.
And today we're looking at 2023's M3GAN, directed by Gerard Johnstown.
Join us as we journey to the funky toy company and learn all about M3GAN.
Girl, are you ready to scream?
Come on, girl. Let's scream.
M3GAN.
With this movie, we have now done every single movie and TV show that is in our intro.
Yes. And what line is our intro from this movie?
This is the part where you run.
This is the part where you run. I love this movie.
It's great.
It's so funny.
It's very funny. Okay, so that's like the thing. We'll get into it, but like the very first scene really sets it up. Because I remember going into this, everyone really didn't know, like, is this a serious movie? Like, what's this going to be? Is this going to be taking itself way too seriously that it's just like, oh, this is bad? Or is it going to be like, oh, this is kind of funny. This is a funny concept. We're just going to kind of like be campy about it. And the first scene really sets that for me.
No, they camped it up.
And I was like, okay. I know what I signed up for. So that's what I loved about it. And it delivers.
Yeah.
I think this movie is great. I think all the characters are really likable in it. Yeah. And fun. I think M3GAN is amazing.
Such an icon. I fucking love her. What a diva.
She's the penny, nickel, dime girl.
Yeah, voiced by penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, quarter.
Which I always knew as boom, snap, clap.
Yeah. Boom, snap, clap, boom, snap, clap.
Boom, snap, clap, boom, snap,
boom. Oh, yeah. Shh.
Because instead of quarter, you go shh.
Penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, quarter. Yeah, she does the voice of M3GAN.
Penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, dime, nickel, penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, quarter. And really fast, penny, nickel, dime, penny, nickel, dime, nickel, penny, nickel, dime, penny, quarter.
Allison Williams plays Gemma. Love Allison Williams.
Yeah, we talked about her in Get Out.
Oh, she's so good in that movie.
Yeah.
My favorite meme of hers is, I think, from Girls from HBO. It's her being like, okay, yeah, let's just make fun of the girl who took a risk and put herself out there creatively.
That's her in this movie.
Yeah, she's the girl who put herself out there creatively, for sure.
Like, oh, let's make fun of the girl who took a risk and put herself out there creatively.
I think everyone was cast very well.
Yeah.
Hilarious movie. It's so fucking funny.
Yes.
Like, I was telling you, like, it reminds me of the Scary Movie franchise.
Yes.
Because it's just, like, fully camped out.
Yes.
They
and
are so
and
self-aware.
like you said, also the editing is also very...
The
very
sound
funny.
effects they use.
Yes.
It's just so self-aware. You can tell that they were in on the joke. I mean, okay, so, like, we can't talk about this movie without talking about, like, the viral marketing campaign that was used to promote it.
Where people would dress up as M3GAN and go into, like, public spaces. They're doing it again for the sequel.
Yes, they are. And shout out to my friend Cameron, who is one of the M3GAN dancers right now. Isn't that so cunty?
Yes, you talked about that. Oh,
yes,
God.
Cameron Mandelbaum. She's a family friend growing up. We actually share half-brothers. That's how we, like, know each other. She's always been a really talented dancer. And I'm just really proud of her. Like, go Cameron.
Yes,
she is one of the
so
M3GANs.
cool.
So cool. Yeah, I might see if she wants to, whenever we cover M3GAN 2, which comes out this next weekend.
Yes.
We might see if I can get her for, like, an interview or something.
Yeah.
See what her experience was like, because she's killing it. And, yeah, when they first came out with the commercial for this movie, I think what hooked at least me, and I think most people, is that dance that she does.
Yes.
It is so funny.
They used that in the trailer, which was very smart.
Yeah. Because that's when you know, oh, this is unserious as fuck.
Yes.
The way that this doll is designed, too, that shit is fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like an Olsen twin.
Yeah,
and
once you that out ever since that.
Oh, once you, like, see it, you can't unsee it. She literally looks like Elizabeth Olsen or whoever that is that plays Wanda to me.
And what's also funny, this movie came out in January, which is typically for horror movies, like, ones they think aren't going to do well, they put in January. And this one did amazing.
It, like, broke that curse.
Yeah. So it did the Scream reboot. I think that came out in January, which was crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this movie made a huge splash at the box office. M3GAN 2.0 is coming out.
And
That shit looks really funny.
they are fully just embracing the campiness of it.
Yeah, the commercial looks so funny. First of all, she got a fuck-ass bob.
Yep.
Thank God.
Yep.
She looks cunty. And she says lines now like, hold on to your vaginas and shit like that. So I'm really excited. We're definitely going to go see that next weekend. All right, are you ready to get into it, girl? I don't have any negatives. This movie's perfect.
I mean, I straight up, I couldn't think of a negative thing about
Truly
it.
don't. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so without further ado, we're about to spoil the entire plot of M3GAN, so go watch it if you've never seen it.
Please go watch it. It's so good.
And are you ready to scream, girl?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Come on, girl.
Let's scream. Okay, so M3GAN opens on a commercial for a product called Perpetual Pets.
And this is so campy. I was aware. This was the moment I was like, okay, they know what they're doing.
It's a song and it's like, well, it's a toy commercial for like little kids. And it's like, my parents died and I'm really sad.
Like the dog died. That's what it's about.
Oh yeah, your dog died. Or like if you're dealing with a loss or something, like dealing with grief.
Yeah.
This is like a toy that's supposed to like offer you emotional comfort, I guess.
Yeah.
And well, it's supposed to, but all we see it do is just kind of like poop and fart. That's
Yeah,
kind of like all
and like
it does.
it's also one of those. It's like Webkins. Did you ever have
Yes, of
Where it's
course
like-
I had Webkins. Loved Webkins.
where you like basically it's like a tablet pet.
Yeah,
Where
it
it's
comes with like a website you can play games with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And we forgot to talk about the intro, but the entire theme of this movie is the dangers of AI.
Yeah.
So already we're kind of seeing that because we meet young Katie, who is this, I think she's 8 years old girl. She's with her parents in the back of the car, and her perpetual pet is with her. She's playing on the iPad. Her parents are having a conversation about like, oh, screen time and making sure Katie's just not like sitting around playing with this toy all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those iPad toys. They don't want her to be an iPad kid.
Yeah.
Which I totally get.
Yeah. The new Toy Story is going to be about iPad kids.
Yeah, this movie
I hope-
predicted that. Yeah.
Well, Woody's not in it anymore. I wonder how they're going to explain that.
Woody's not in it?
He leaves at the end of the fourth one.
I also did see that they changed the animation style. And it's like more of a like flat. It just looks cheap. I don't...
Did
Look,
they?
listen, I haven't seen a Toy Story movie since the third one. I thought they should have just left it there.
Yeah. That's the fourth one. I like, me and Keaton watched it because I was like, I've never seen this. And this was like a while ago.
You
but
described the whole plot of it to me one time, and it sounds dumb as fuck.
it's like a side quest. I was like, this doesn't really feel like it needed to be a plot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, the story didn't need to be told. And it just ends on a note of like, oh, okay.
I love those first two Toy Stories, though. And the third one is funny because Barbie and Ken are in it.
Yeah.
That show was funny. But yeah, they're kind of talking about how Katie, they're worried about her like getting too much screen time, which is a conversation that parents need to have nowadays, I guess. It's interesting. And they're in the middle of this snowstorm and the dad can't really see. Katie knocks over her perpetual pet by accident, and so she removes her seatbelt to try and get it. And then the mom freaks out and like turns around and like buckles her back in, and they're all distracted. And then the dad decides to like just stop the car in the middle of the road, which why would you not just pull over to the side of the road? That's like
Turn on your blinkers.
so dangerous, right? And he's like, well, we'll just wait for a snow truck to come, snow plower to come. And as soon as he says that,
They get plowed.
yeah, you see the headlights of a snow truck run right into them.
Yeah.
So we are now at the company that Aunt Jenna, or Gemma,
Gemma.
sorry,
Gemma Collins.
Gemma, like Gemma Collins, played by Allison Williams. She's Katie's aunt. She designs toys here. She actually designed the Perpetual Pet. Mm-hmm. And she's currently working on a new version of the Perpetual Pet with her two assistants, Tess and Cole. Cole is played by Brian Jordan Alvarez, who we know from The Secret Life of
Caleb Gallo.
Or The Gay and Wondrous Life
of Caleb Gallo.
Which is
Secretly, you were thinking of Secret Life of American Teenager.
Right, I got those mixed up. Which
Very
is,
similar.
But Caleb Gallo, that's a really funny gay web series about a bunch of like queer friends who live in LA together who are actors. If you've never watched that, it's great. The character Freckle is my favorite.
Freckle's the best.
Yeah. You maybe seen like the clip of sometimes things that are expensive are worse. So anyway, I suck both their dicks.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really funny. He's also in the FX show called The English Teacher, which was also funny. So I really like him.
It.
Cool. And I love just seeing like faggots get work in this industry, playing straight men. That's always iconic. But anyway, she has been secretly working on a side project with them, M3GAN, which stands for Model 3 Generative Android. And Cole has brought a new silicone face skin for her that they put on. They start testing out different facial expressions. And she kind of gets stuck on a weird smirk. They're like, why is her face doing that? Just then, her boss, David, who I fucking love. He's one of my favorite parts of this movie.
He's great. He's always bitching.
So funny.
He's always bitching.
This actor, he's camping it up. I love him. And he's cute, too.
Yeah.
Everyone's hot in this movie. Even the, like, side characters. Like, there's, like, a cop later who I'm like, ugh, this cop with 2 lines. He could get it. But
A-cab girl. A-cab.
even him, I know. But he's hot. Whatever, he's an actor. He's not a real cop.
The actor is hot.
Right.
The cop is not.
David enters and he is pissed with her for not working on the new Perpetual Pet because he's worried about a competitor that has ripped off that idea and has been selling a cheaper version of the Perpetual Pet. So he's like, okay, you got to come up with some shit
What
that's
they called like
cheap, too.
Funky Pets or something.
Funky Pets or some shit. Yeah. So she's very passionate about the M3GAN project, though, and she's trying to convince him that it's worth investing in. She tries to do like a little demo of it, but M3GAN starts tweaking.
Because what's his name?
Yeah, Cole.
Cole forgot to put in some processor or
Something.
something. He said a big word, and I was like, that might be a real word, but it might be made up.
Right.
I was like, it was one of those words where I'm like, did this movie make
Girl,
that
I
up?
I didn't pay attention in science class, but I do know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So,
Is hydrogen
mind
the
you.
first element?
Girl, I don't fucking know. But the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And don't fucking forget it. But yeah, M3GAN tweaks out and she kind of explodes. There's like a small fire that breaks out. It does not look good. So he's extremely pissed and he is mad at her for wasting all this money and time. And so he's like, you better start working on that new Perpetual Pet. God damn it. And so she, at that point, is disappointed. But she gets a call informing her about the car accident that killed her sister and the husband, and poor little Katie is the sole survivor.
She's orphaned.
Definitely orphaned. And so Gemma will have to become the new caretaker of her niece Katie. Yeah. And Katie's first day at Aunt Gemma's house is rough because Gemma is not a kids person. And immediately this is when on the first watch, like, because you and I and Keaton and like our friend group went and saw this in theaters and we had a great time. And I remember watching this the first time, and this scene, I immediately related so hard with Aunt Gemma. I started putting myself in the mindset because like I have nieces and nephews. Yeah. And if something happened to any of my siblings and my dumbass had to become the caregiver, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
Keaton's nephews, if something happens to their parents, we take them. I was like, Keaton. No.
Yeah.
Like, Keaton was like, my mom offered, and I was like, yeah, she could take them.
Bitch, I don't like kids. I don't know how to interact with them.
How did you do summer camps?
I was younger, and I was theater camp, and it was the older kids. These were like early teens. These were like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Okay, you bet you can't do like little kids.
Fuck no. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Mr. Parker, do you play Five Nights at Freddy's? Do you have games on your phone? Shut the fuck up, kid. I will punch you.
I just want to
push you over, bitch.
Push him over, like just push him. Like, oh, get away from me.
I notoriously hate kids. Like everyone knows this, and I totally relate to poor Gemma because she's also very type A. She's played by Allison Williams, so she's awkward because that's Allison Williams. Yeah. She's like kind of a cold, stiff person. Not like in a bad way.
No, it works so well.
She's
like the
maybe
way she
like on the spectrum coded a little bit. You can tell, I'm just saying, you can tell she's like not like in her element here trying to like raise a kid. And she has these toys because she's a toy designer. So they're on
Oh, you mean
shelves.
the character?
Yes. Not Allison Williams. Allison
That's why I was like, Parker!
Well, no, but Allison Williams can play this really well.
Yeah.
Kind of like awkward, socially like awkward person. And she's got like these toy shelves where she displays like the projects that she's designed.
Like collectible toys.
There's this collectible of like kind of like a ball that has like different electronic aspects to it. But it's just one of the toys she designed. And Katie picks it up and she's like, oh, Katie, don't play with that because, you know, it's just a collectible. It's meant to just be on display.
Yeah.
So very that vibe. And I relate to that because I collect action figures and dolls. And if any of my nieces and nephews were to come in and even if they breathed on those, I would shit a brick.
Yes.
Don't even look at them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can just tell like this is going to be a very rough transition for this poor little girl.
Yeah.
Who is very much grieving too.
The bedroom. A fucking bike is in
know,
there. A workout
her
bike.
stationary bike is still in there, and which, you know, fair enough, she hasn't had time to like revamp this into like a kid's room, but it just feels like, damn, this poor girl.
But then also like girl just offered to be like, okay, well, we can make this, we can go get paint, we can decorate this up, we can make
She
this
doesn't have time to. All she could think about is her fucking job.
Yeah.
And the fucking Perpetual Pets shit.
Yeah.
And this actress who plays little Katie is amazing. She does such a good job in this role.
Yeah.
Great child actress. And you really feel bad for her. She's clearly grieving.
Yeah.
But she's trying to, you know, not be too much of a burden on her aunt, you know?
Yeah.
It's just,
She's that age where she's like self-aware enough to be like, I get it. Like, I don't want to be, like, girl, I don't want to be here either.
Right, exactly. It's sad. Great characters. They're just really relatable.
Yeah.
So the next day, they're visited by a social worker who is there to determine whether or not Gemma is fit to take care of Katie. And she observes, and she's very judgy, okay?
Yeah. First thing she says, she's like, you're still in your pajamas. And then Gemma's like, yeah, we were just watching TV. And she's like, I can see that.
I can see that. What's wrong with being in your pajamas and watching TV?
A day off. Like,
It's Saturday.
Girl.
Bitch, shut the fuck up. Also, this is day one, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay? And she didn't ask for this. I didn't like this bitch until later, and then I really liked her.
Yeah.
When we get to a certain part.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's kind of like very hesitant to accept that Gemma will be a fit parent, especially the way that Gemma is with like the collectible toys and everything. It's just kind of awkward. She lets Gemma know that if she can't make the proper adjustments to cater for a child, then there's the option of sending Katie to go live with her grandparents on her dad's side who live in Florida. So she needs to kind of step up to the plate and be a parent.
Yeah.
Gemma, however, has to work on the fucking Perpetual Pet. And so she promises Katie, like, we can hang out later. Here, you can even play with my iPad. Katie's like, well, what about screen time? She's like, as much as you want. I don't give a fuck.
I do not
Screen
care.
time? What is that?
It's like, oh, like, cool, whatever. But then it's also, like, you think it's, like, cool. Like, oh, she's cool. She's chill. But it's also kind of like...
It's kind of negligent. But she also doesn't know. I mean, we didn't have fucking iPads when we were kids.
No.
So if I am not a parent...
We had, like, the home computers. And it's like...
Right.
Bitch,
That was in
a public room. Everyone could see it. Everyone used it. So you had to be careful what you looked up.
Oh, yeah.
When I found how to delete history, oh, my life was changed.
Changing people's lives.
Changed
I know
people's
it.
lives.
But yeah, I mean, like, she wouldn't know. And there's such a learning curve with having to take care of kids nowadays, I feel like, because technology is so different.
Yeah.
And, like, the things you have to worry about, I don't know. It stresses me the fuck out to think about. So I feel for Miss Gemma. But she is working on the Perpetual Pet. Katie enters her office. And she has, like, a kind of a lab office in her garage kind of set up. I liked this set. This was cool. And she feels guilty about leaving Katie alone for so long. So she shows her an old project of hers, which is this animatronic named Bruce, who is able to mimic the motions of the player who's wearing, like, special gloves.
Yeah.
He's not designed like a person. Like, think very, like, early stages of prototype robot vibe. He doesn't even have a face.
But they put like goggles on him. Because like Katie points out, she's like, where's his face? And she's like, yeah, it's kind of a design flaw.
Sorry, here, we can put
goggles. She puts goggles on him and it looks really cute.
He's a cool toy.
And they're like starting to bond, which is cool.
It's the first moment we see Katie smile the whole movie.
And like open up to
Miss Gemma.
Miss Gemma.
And Katie says, well, if I had a toy like Bruce, I don't think I'd ever need another toy. And this inspires Gemma. And she gets this whole like montage where she's working on Megan. And she's building up like the prototype. Gemma calls her boss David M for a viewing in the testing kind of room. It's like this setup room where it kind of looks like a little kid's like nursery or something.
Like a playroom.
Playroom or something, yeah. And he watches as Gemma brings in Katie and introduces her to Megan. And we meet Miss
Megan. The diva.
Love. The design is crazy. Her eyes bugging.
They're
huge.
They had to have done so many like different effects because I think like it's CGI'd at points. Then sometimes it's a mask. Sometimes it's a doll. And so it's
sometimes it's got animatronic components.
Yeah.
Sometimes they had to CGI it, but it looks great.
Yeah.
And I think they had a couple different dancers and like models do the model work for her and be like the body double for her. And they do a great job. All their movement is very robotic and the sound effects they use are really campy.
She's amazing.
She's funny. Like we first see her and she's kind of like hunched over, like just chilling there.
Yeah.
And she is activated by syncing her up with Katie by like touching their wrists together or their hands together. And Gemma explains that this will make Megan pair with Katie and make her a primary caregiver. And like her responsibility is to like take care of you and like be your friend. Da, 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 da. And Megan comes to life and she compliments Katie's jacket and asks if she wants to hang out. And they go to this like table where there's some drawing, there's some markers, and she's like, "Let me draw you, Katie." And she's kind of like the way her hands are moving, it reminds me of like how a printer is like printing out as she draws. And then she accidentally, quote unquote, spills over some water. And so it looks like, oh, is she glitchy? And the boss looks really disappointed. But then it's like a magic ink, like the water like activates the ink, and we see that it's like this beautiful
like perfectly done drawn
portrait of fucking Katie. And so like it's like, oh my god, like wow, such a moment, right? And he's super impressed. David's like, okay, this is gonna be the future. So he wants to show it to the head of the company, who's named Greg. So they plan on getting Greg to meet with Megan. And
what's his little assistant's name?
Like Kurt.
Kurt's a little weasel.
Kurt is a little weasel. Yeah, and he's like, Greg's the head of the company. They're like, we know who the head of the company is.
We know who Greg is. We have met Greg many times.
I liked him too. He was funny. Yeah. So, yeah, they plan on getting Greg to meet Megan and demonstrate with Katie in a few weeks. Yeah. So, in the meantime, we get this, one of my favorite sequences, which is...
Megan walks into the house.
Oh, she's got her cunty little glasses on. And she pulls them off.
She swipes them off and looks around.
Serves cunt.
She's like, let me check out this place.
Love it. And this is all kind of like an infomercial that Gemma is putting together to demonstrate Megan's capabilities, I guess. Yeah. And so it's like footage of throughout the week of Megan hanging out with Katie. We see all the shit that she can do. They're making little dances together, which is where like the weird dancing comes from. She's reading her stories, and she's reading Alice in Wonderland, and she can do the different voices.
It's so funny because she's doing like this old man, like British guy voice, and then she goes, "Said the dodo bird."
Yeah, she's like switching between
voice.
Like the AI voices. It's great. She's also teaching her about science because she teaches her like to put your drink on a coaster, to not leave a stain. And Katie's like, well, why does it create a stain? And she goes, well, actually, it's condensation. And she like describes to her like the process of condensation. Yeah. And Katie's like, wow, that's really cool. And Megan goes, it's insane, right? She's into it, bitch. I love it. And she like teaches her to wash her hands.
Yeah, that was... Then she high fives her at the end.
Gives her a high five.
Roll up your sleeves.
Yeah, it's great. And then Gemma ends it with being like, and since Megan's taking care of all that, you get to spend more time on the stuff that really matters. And we see her like kicking up her feet, laying on the couch, watching a movie. And it's funny to me, like very poignant that she says the stuff that really matters. When if you're going to be like a parent, shouldn't the stuff that really matters be spending time with the children? Like the stuff that Megan's doing, right? So that's just an interesting like insight to her character. Shows that she has a lot to grow, you know. Tess, her like friend slash assistant, is wary of Gemma's intentions with Megan, and she questions if it's healthy for Megan to be taking on so many of the parenting responsibilities with Katie. And Gemma insists that they continue on, and even adds that Katie is the happiest she's been since the death of her parents. But suddenly Megan, they're like in the lab, her ass turns on, or I guess has been on the whole time listening, because she goes, how did Katie's parents die? And they're like, oh, she's must be like still paired with Katie, so she's not being able to shut down properly. So she's been on this whole time. What the fuck? And she quickly like looks up death in her database and like teaches herself about what death is.
Yeah, and then like tries to teach how to like grieve and like how to teach like.
Yeah, she's like, I have no basis on how to talk to Katie about death. And it's just kind of uncomfortable and a little creepy. It's the first kind of like, oh.
Yeah, what's going on?
What's going on? And she's kind of overstepping, right? And this pisses Gemma off, especially when Megan says, will I die, Gemma? Gemma's like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to program you to just ignore all that, and we're not going to, I'm overriding it. I'm installing the parental controls, and I'm your secondary caretaker now. And Megan, turn off. And so Megan finally turns off.
Yeah.
But that was kind of creepy. We think of this funny scene of Megan, like, watching out the window, like, watching over Katie. And she's like, just the eyes of the doll is so funny.
Yes.
As she's, like, scanning around her environment. And she's, like, studying, like, the butterflies and shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about this doll. I think maybe we talked about it, but the fact that it does look like an Olsen twin, it just makes me laugh, even when not much is going on. I just think she looks funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's this movie. There's just nothing could be happening, and I think it's funny.
Right.
It's just too funny.
Katie accidentally shoots a toy arrow into the neighbor's yard.
Did we talk about her?
No, this annoying ass neighbor with the fuck ass dog.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that dog. Fuck that dog. Like, control your dog. And then she is jump scared. Miss M3GAN is jump scared by the dog, that fuck ass aggressive ass dog.
Yeah.
Because she reaches under, there's like a hole in the fence the dog keeps getting out of.
Yeah.
She reaches to go get the arrow, and it starts attacking Miss M3GAN and starts fucking her hair off.
And so then Katie's like, oh shit,
Katie tries to like get Megan away from the dog, and the dog bites Katie. Fuck that dog. And it looked like it really fucking hurt. And so Megan starts like glitching out, and she like gets up and her hair is all fucked up. And it is so funny. Like, they did such a good job like teasing the shit out of this wig, and they put like leaves and shit in it to look all like crazy. It's great. And so Gemma runs out and she like yells at the neighbor, like, oh my God, take control of your fucking dog. I'm gonna call the cops on your dog. You need to put it down. And she says, put your dog down or I'm gonna put it down for you. But it was kind of an empty threat. You could tell she obviously wasn't gonna do that. But like the neighbor's all pissed and annoyed. And Megan gives a death stare at the neighbor lady and like kind of gives her, like, looks her up and down, like she's analyzing her. Yeah. Trying to figure out how to read this bitch, you know? And then the cops, which, first of all, this cop, I said it earlier, but he's cute. He's like a thick mustache daddy. Yummy. And he tells Gemma that there's nothing they can do about the aggressive dog because the neighbor's claiming that the dog was provoked or whatever.
It was on their property.
Yeah, so what are you going to do? And Megan is listening in from the window.
Yeah.
That night, this scene is creepy, okay? Because we hear a robotic voice that is mimicking the voice of the neighbor lady. Yeah. Calling for the dog.
Yeah. Dewey.
Dewey, come here. But it's like clearly like AI.
Yeah.
And that, I hate that. You know what this reminds me of? Sorry to go on a little tangent here. But you know skinwalkers? You ever hear stories about like the creatures called skinwalkers? That there've been like a lot of people claim that they have interacted with skinwalkers out in the wilderness.
Like robots wearing human skin?
No, they're like demons or like creatures that mimic others' voices. Or like the most famous one is this girl was like letting her dog out and she like lived in the middle of the woods somewhere. And she heard a voice that sounded like a dog, but it wasn't a dog. Like putting on the bark of a dog. And she thought it was her dog, like, barking from the trees. And she was about to go out and, like, get him and, like, investigate. But then she realized her dog was, like, behind her in the house. And so, like, there's been a lot of stories like that where it's, like, they can kind of present as somebody else. Or it's just creepy. It's an old, like, folk tale or whatever the fuck. But this is what it reminded me of. And I just think that any kind of thing, AI is that same way, where it can mimic something so perfectly, creeps me out and gives me the heebie-jeebies.
When people do, like, AI songs.
AI in general, girl, it's
Yeah.
so scary. But I think this movie was, even though this is 2023, this comes out, this movie was ahead of its time when it came to commenting on AI.
Yeah.
And it's how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we hear this, robotic voice of this neighbor, and it lures the dog out to the hole in the fence. And then we see Megan, and she snatches it out. The edit is really funny. It's like, "Duh!"
Yeah. She, like, pops in, and then we just see the dog get dragged off screen.
And the next morning, the owner is going around looking for him. So, R.I.P. to this dog.
R.I.P. Dewey.
Gemma asks if Katie is still okay with going to the demonstration, even though, like, she got her arm bit and they had a really hard day yesterday. But she kind of is guilt-tripping her into going along with it. She's like, well, a lot of people, did fly really far to come and see you today, but, it's okay, you don't have to, da-da-da-da-da. And this results in Miss M3GAN giving some side-eye to
Because she's
Gemma.
like, girl, are you serious?
There's even a moment where Megan, during the scene, she, like, looks right at the camera. Like, can y'all even believe that she's doing this? It's so funny. Yeah.
She's giving a gem from The Office.
She definitely gives a gem from The Office. Which, Megan, her side eyes are fucking funny.
Yes. There's some really great times.
Really
she gives the, like,
great side eye.
or she gives, like, a little, like, not, like, head tilt.
Head tilt, like, bitch.
Yes, like, there's one time we'll get to it where she literally looks at Jenna and goes, bitch.
And the demonstration is very emotional. This is one of, like, the emotional moments of this movie that actually kind of, like,
Which is, again, why this is a great movie.
gets in my feels. Right? Because it is so campy and stupid sometimes.
But it actually has really good...
It has a lot of heart.
And has a lot to say.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because what happens is Katie starts breaking down and crying about her parents' death and grieving them. And M3GAN has, like, she comforts her and she has Katie describe a story about how the mom found a roach at one point in, like, her lunchbox. And freaked out and that it was funny. And she records that memory, that story, and then she replays it for Katie. And she's like, see, like, I am storing your memories. So you never have to, forget your parents. You can always have them here and I'll save these memories for you. And it's really cute. And then she starts singing an original song. If you should need a friend or whatever the fuck. I don't know how it goes.
Yeah.
That shit was really funny. And it kind of reminded me of, like, a Disney song.
Yeah.
Some corny shit, like, the Disney would do.
Yep.
And then, like, the people, all the, like, big wigs and, like, suit people that are, like, watching are, like, getting emotional.
Yeah, there's one who's, like, fully crying.
Fully crying, yeah. So it goes really well. It's very heartwarming. And the head of the company is extremely impressed. And he wants to move forward with manufacturing M3GAN on, like, a large scale. And he even wants to do a live demonstration in a few weeks to promote it.
Yeah.
We see David's assistant, Mr. Kurt, a Weasley guy we talked about earlier.
Being a weasel.
He is sneakily transferring M3GAN's coding and all of her top secret information over to an external folder on his laptop. And then, as soon as David approaches him, he, like, snaps the laptop shut. All sketchy. And David goes, please tell me you weren't watching Pornhub in the office again. So that evening, Katie gets shitty with Jenna. Or
Gemma.
Gemma.
Did it correct?
Okay, no.
Correct?
I thought her name was Jenna, like, the first half of this movie as I was typing notes. And then I realized it was Gemma.
That's why you gotta do captions, girl.
I know, I should have. Anyway, Gemma wants to have a one-on-one combo without M3GAN because she's, like, distracting Katie. They're, like, doing a thumb war thing.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm trying to talk to you about, like, your grief, da-da-da-da-da. And
we kind of see Katie's being a little bit of a brat.
she is.
She like
acting out. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not wanting to eat her hot dog. She's not wanting. She's just not.
She
wanting
keeps
to
turning
listen.
M3GAN back on.
Yeah.
And just not wanting to listen. And she's starting to realize, like, oh, is this too far gone? Like, is she developing too much of an attachment to M3GAN? And now she's only going to listen to M3GAN and not listen to anything that I have to say, kind of thing. So then the social worker, she comes to the job, to like the viewing room or whatever, to observe Katie and have like a little one-on-one with her. And she's asking Katie about her feelings. Like, she has Katie draw pictures, and she's like trying to get her to describe her feelings about, you know, whatever she's drawing. And this is clearly like affecting Katie. She starts to tear up. And she goes to get her a tissue, and she turns, and Miss M3GAN jump scares her. She's standing right there, and she goes, "You made her cry." And the social worker's like, "Well, that wasn't my intention." And she goes, "And yet, it happened." And I love M3GAN because she's the queen of being like, "And yet, X plus Y equals Z." Like, I love it. Like, she's very matter of fact.
1 + 1 = 2.
And the social worker and Gemma have a convo where she warns Miss Gemma about the potential unhealthy consequences that M3GAN could cause.
From attachment theory.
Basically,
she's saying because when a child, like if they were to be in a traumatic event where they lose their parents, they have a tendency to cling on to the next person to come into their life.
And normally it would be you, but you have created M3GAN.
Who is so lifelike.
She's like, thinks that M3GAN is her primary caregiver.
Yeah, and she's like, there's also an issue because this doll doesn't age.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like a ton of, I just.
So if the doll doesn't grow, how are you expecting a child to grow, kind of thing? So there's like, it could actually inhibit her development.
Yeah. Things
like that. So she just tells her, like, I would maybe watch out for this and maybe not let Katie become so dependent on M3GAN. So Gemma decides that night at dinner, the scene begins, it's funny, because she's trying to get Katie to eat her vegetables. And M3GAN's like, well, studies have shown that parents who force their kids to eat vegetables, it will actually lead to the kids not wanting to eat vegetables later in life. And as she's talking and like giving this explanation, Gemma gets the remote and just turns her ass down.
And you can tell M3GAN at a point realizes that she did that because she just
gives her a look like, are you fucking kidding me? You just
like,
turned down my volume,
She
bitch.
looks like she stops talking mid-sentence and just goes,
It's another like Jim from The Office look.
Yeah,
like, are you kidding me?
Okay, girl.
You did not just turn down my volume. But Gemma has decided to sign Katie up for this like outdoor retreat school thing. It's like a weird like alternative charter school shit.
Charter school.
But they have a day where
we don't have classrooms. We go out into the woods.
I thought that was fucking weird, but whatever. I also think homeschooling is weird, but I don't know. I was a public school girl, so I'm like,
I was private school, but I'm like, one of those people where I'm like,
you gotta socialize your kid.
They got it, yeah.
Come on now, get him with other kids.
I mean, I don't know. Homeschool is just really hard for me to like
wrap my brain around.
Yeah,
especially when I'm like, what are your credentials and what qualifies you as like a random parent to like teach curriculum?
See, like some people do, like there are like teachers who homeschool.
Right.
Which it's like, okay, that I guess is kind of fine, but if you're doing that, your kid should be in like something social.
Exactly.
Like a club at least, but the ones where it's just their parents, I'm like, no.
Weird.
That's weird, and I don't think that should be allowed.
Right, I think so too. Yeah. Ugh, but that's a totally different podcast. Like, I digress on that.
If you're homeschooled, leave us a comment. What was it like?
I bet they're not watching our podcast. School people are not watching Let's Scream. Let me tell you that. So yeah, Gemma decides to sign her up. It's like a day where it's like, if you want to join the school and like test it out, you can come and like just see what it's like.
Yeah.
Bring like prospective students to come in. But Katie gets really irritated. She does not want to go. She thinks she's all good with M3GAN. And she tries to get up from the table and go to her room. And Gemma like grabs her arm and tries to get her to stay. And they get into this tussle, right? And M3GAN snaps and she goes, let her go. Her voice gets all like deep and scary. Yeah. And then the lights flicker. Like, was she connecting the electricity? Like, what the fuck?
Bitch.
And so Gemma gives M3GAN the command. She's like, you are not to interfere with users' personal conversations. Is that clear? And Megan goes, 100%. Like, kind of smart-assy.
Yeah.
And she turns Megan off. Megan turn off, right?
She's like, are you sure about that?
And she's like, turn off, bitch. And so Megan kind of like boots down. And Allison Williams, she's kind of like looking at Megan and she's kind of like, okay, I guess she's turned down, I think.
And then there's like a banging noise. Maybe Katie like slammed
I think
the door.
Katie slammed the door. And so it distracts Miss Gemma. So she goes to Katie's room and we see as she leaves the room. Megan just like turns up and gives her a look with like a side eye. Like,
yeah, she's like, bitch.
Bitch, I'm still on.
Yeah.
You can't turn me off, bitch.
Yep.
At the outdoor school, this is one of my favorite scenes. First of all, it starts with like, they're in the car, like Katie's in the back seat with Megan sitting next to her. And the teacher comes up and she's like, oh, hi, who is this?
She's
This
like,
is Katie. Oh, and who's this other girl? And then she
Megan
sees that it's a
looks
robot.
at her and she goes, Jesus Christ!
Jesus! Oh my God, sorry. It's just so funny. And Gemma decides to like stay and help out.
Yeah.
And they leave Megan by the toys because that's the only way she can get
Yeah.
Katie to do this.
Katie was like,
I'm only doing it if I'm allowed to bring Megan. And she's like, okay,
that's an issue.
but you're gonna leave her on the toy shelf and not play with her, and like no one can touch her, no pictures, and she can't be on.
Yeah.
Like no one can see that she's a robot. Da 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 da. So we see Miss Megan like chilling there by all the other toys and like the Barbies and like the plushies and stuff. It was funny. I love this moment where Gemma is talking to this other mom and we meet her kid Brandon, and she's mom. First of all, the mom's like, oh, I can't get this jar open.
And she just hands it right to Gemma.
Does not ask, can you open this for me? Just literally like puts it right in front of her face. Like, here, open it, bitch.
She's like, okay.
So that's kind of funny. And then she's like, oh, this is my kid Brandon, who Brandon is like a foot taller than all the other kids.
Yeah,
Apparently
like,
had a growth spurt.
She's like, how old is he?
Yeah. And she's like, but he's really a sweet soul. And she's like, honey, do you need your jacket? And he turns around and he goes, fuck off, Holly. She's like, oh, you never know what the kids are going to say next.
Yeah, because Gemma's like, oh, yeah, they're crazy at that age.
This is good at crazy age. Yeah. She's like, damn. So Brandon, this kid's a little shit, right?
Yeah.
He gets paired up with Katie to go out in the woods and do something, I don't know. Outdoor school.
Yeah.
But he starts bullying Katie. There's like a spiky thing, one of those spiky apricot shells or whatever the fuck that is. And he like pinches her with it. And, you know,
Little shit.
being an asshole.
I hope he gets what's coming to him.
Well, then Miss Megan appears. Standing there, okay?
She's like,
and she explains, like, oh, she's a robot. And he's like, oh, we'll make her say something. And then she's like, no, she'll only play with me. And so he goes, okay, fine. And he grabs Miss Megan up, snatches her up, and runs away with her. And so Katie's screaming out for Gemma, like, Gemma, come help. This kid has the doll, da-da-da-da. And then we get probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. This kid, like, drags Megan into, like, this clearing in the woods. And they're alone. First of all, he, like, takes her shoe off.
Yeah.
Throws it. Then he gets on top of her and he just slaps her. And the sound effect is literally...
it's so good. It's really good.
So funny. Smacks this bitch right in the face. And he's, like, taunting Megan. Like, oh, so you're not going to play with me, Megan? You fucking robot? Da-da-da-da. But then she grabs onto his ear and starts to like pull it up like taffy.
It looks like it looks like bubble gum.
She literally rips
Which is that how
his
your ear
off.
would work?
Yeah. But it was cunty. And then she like rips the whole fucking ear off and then she like flicks it like and then she like spins up like she does this crazy like lift off the ground and then she like turns her head and she goes,
says,
this is the part where you run.
From our intro!
Woo! Yep.
We did it!
We finally made it through all the movies that are in our
Which
intro.
episode is this? Like 50 what?
Girl, this is like episode 70 something. I know, right?
70 what?
It's crazy.
Oh my god. I thought
I
we were still in
know.
the 50s to the 60s.
Look at us. I know, right?
Wow.
But then, yes, she starts chasing Brandon around. She's like on all fours like a dog.
Yes.
Climbing. That shit was so funny. And then he runs out into traffic.
Yeah, he trips and slips down a hill.
Like a hill.
And then he gets hit by a car.
Immediately hit by a truck. Thank God.
R.I.P.
Like, hell yeah, this kid got hit by a car. Hell yeah.
He was a little shit.
He was. He deserved it. He had it coming. And so that evening, Gemma questions Katie about what happened. And Katie says, well, Brandon took Megan from the toy shelf and ran away with her. That's all that happened. And Gemma looks at Megan and she's like, is that what happened, Megan? And Megan just goes, in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Queen of vague answers.
Right. She's cunty. And the neighbor lady, like, continues to harass Gemma about the missing dog. She has that cop come back and, like, question her. Like, have you seen the dog? Was it you? Because she had made kind of an empty threat about the dog earlier. Yeah. And that night, Katie asks Megan, okay, first of all, this is my favorite scene in the movie. This is so
okay, so not the scene
fucking
we just
funny.
watched.
No, it's this scene. It has to be this scene.
This is great.
Megan's getting Katie ready for bed. She's like reading her a bedtime story or something. And Katie asks Megan if she pushed Brandon onto the road. Was it you? Did you do it, Megan?
Yeah.
And Megan's kind of cagey.
Bitch was like, I'm gonna just give an answer that does not answer that question. I'm just gonna say something that does not answer that question.
She's like, you know, Katie, we all learned a valuable lesson today. There's unstoppable forces out there that's gonna hurt you, but I'm never gonna let anything happen to you. Okay?
Yeah.
And then she goes, do you think Brandon is in heaven, Megan? And Megan goes, well, of course not. He's nowhere. And if there was a heaven, I don't think boys like Brandon go to heaven. And then immediately, without missing a beat, she sings Titanium by Sia. I'm bulletproof. Okay, first of all, there's so many layers that make this so funny. The fact that it's the song Titanium by Sia. The fact that it's the penny nickel dime bitch who is the voice of Megan with like the auto-tune on her voice. The fact that like Megan just has that face and she's singing it. It like literally sent me. I remember in the theater.
I remember because we did not expect this.
My mind the first time I saw this in the theater. This shit was so fucking funny. Titanium by Sia. And honestly, I kind of think
she's a robot.
I kind of think Megan.
So it being titanium is so funny.
Right? There's that. And then I also think Megan ate up Miss Sia with the vocals.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of prefer the Megan cover of it. Okay, so then we get a spooky scene. Miss Neighbor Lady, bitch, she's out looking for her dog. And she is lured out to the garage by the artificial sounds of a dog whimpering. And of course, it is Miss M3GAN, who like rises from the darkness, all scary.
It looked like she did like a Dracula, where she's like on her back.
Michael Myers, right?
Yeah,
like,
and somehow just like fully lifts up, but like on her feet.
It was so funny. And she uses the power sprayer that this
to
neighbor
knock
lady
the
was
bitch
using.
over.
Sprays her all over, and then she uses a staple gun to like pin her to the ground.
It's a nail gun, so she
or nail gun, sorry.
Yeah, and nails her hand down, and then she takes the
chemical shit.
She's
weed killer or something.
The weed killer, and sprays her directly in the face.
Yeah, and so it's like a bloody mess. Yeah. And this was great scene, very nice, and probably maybe the goriest scene in this movie. This movie was criticized for not being like gory or scary enough, and I totally disagree. I think it's just gory enough.
Yeah, it's honestly. A PG-13 movie too.
Right, exactly.
And it's a thing. It's not really going for horror.
No, it's comedy.
It's like this is comedy.
This is absolute summer camp, bitch. This is camp to camp. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty scary scene here.
Yeah.
A detective investigates the murder. And he's talking to Gemma. This is great because
he's like,
first of all, he's like, well, someone noticed that this is the second testimony you've given this week. You were there when that young boy was killed earlier.
And she's like, he got hit by a car.
Are you trying to like make a connection or something?
He's like, well, we thought it was just an accident until we found his ear about 200 feet away from the site.
And he's laughing. He's like
I shouldn't laugh at that.
He's great, and he's like chewing gum real hard too.
Yeah,
this actor was camping up for like he had 2 lines and a dream, and honestly, he did a great job.
Yeah,
but yeah, so they're suspecting now foul play was involved with Brandon's murder. Gemma decides to look through Megan's camera footage because everything she sees through her camera eyes gets recorded, right? So she's trying to investigate around the timestamp where Brandon's death happened, but suddenly all the files vanish and she no longer has access to them.
That's suspicious. And that's weird.
Gemma has like an Alexa or like a Siri. What are those things called?
Yeah, it's like
there's like a term for that.
Echoes,
yeah, Amazon Echo, whatever the fuck. Hers is called
the like home, like the smart homes.
Smart home thing. This is one called Elsie. It's like a version in this universe called Elsie. And Elsie asks Gemma if she's feeling okay, which sketches out Gemma because Gemma's like, why did you ask me that?
Yeah, because this thing came into play earlier, and it just gives her like notifications of like, you have this many missed calls and this many missed notifications on Tinder.
Exactly.
So it's just supposed to be like
a regular Alexa.
like basically how a answering machine was. It's supposed to just be
Yes.
like a general answering machine.
So this is really weird that it's starting to ask her personal questions like this, and then suddenly,
She like closes her laptop.
It's Miss
Megan's
Megan.
standing right there.
Yep, spooks her. And she says, have I done something to upset you, Gemma? She gets real serious. And Gemma tells Megan to turn off. And she goes, well, wait, hold on a second. I thought we were having a conversation. And Gemma's like, well, did you hurt someone, Megan? And she goes, well, God, I certainly hope not, Gemma, because if I did, you and I would both be in a lot of trouble now, wouldn't we? And is like intimidating her.
Well, at first, the first question she asks is like, did you do something bad? And she's like, well, that depends on the parameters. What's the...
She stands on business.
She's like, don't ask me a general question, but she'll give general answers.
Yeah, she's very
She's
she's lawyer type tease.
She's like, ask me the question you want to ask me.
I could see Megan like pulling an Elwoods and being like a lawyer because she knows how to like wordplay her way into a situation. And then Gemma tricks Megan to focusing on a pen. She's like, Megan, look at this pen. And it distracts her, and then she like switches the switch on
It's like behind her ear.
on Megan's ear and like shuts completely like boots her down.
But she
This is great edit. This edit's great.
wraps her up like it's just her
Bubble
getting
wrap
duct tape
and-
duct tape, so it looks like she's tying up like it looks like a person.
Like a person?
So it looks like she like bubble wrapped a body, and it's just so
The doll's
funny.
like face in the bubble wrap for like a split second is just like staring at the camera. That shit was so funny.
funny.
And so she's like, okay, no, we can't trust Megan. I need to take her back to the lab to like do some more testing on her. And it's the day of the launch party.
And Katie is freaking out
Losing
in
her
the
mind,
backseat.
losing her shit, kicking the seat, throwing a huge fucking temper tantrum, hissy fit.
She like
And
kicks Gemma's seat.
she says, Perpetual Pets fucking suck. Or like she says shit or
shit.
something. Yeah, she swears. And is just completely acting up.
Because she's like, listen, we're gonna go to the company. We're gonna you can play with the toys there. It's fine. You don't need to see her right now. And she's just like freaking out.
Oh, yeah, because she's been totally, like, she's addicted. It's like how iPad kids are when you take away their fucking Roblox.
Yeah.
They're addicted. They're Fortnite.
And she's like, what's wrong with her? She's asking what's wrong with Megan. And Gemma tells her, I don't know. But as
Girl.
soon as I do, you'll be the first to know.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's kind of, like, scary that she's now, like, at that point in being like, bitch, I have no fucking clue what's going on.
Right, exactly.
This thing is insane.
Her creation has gone awry.
Kind of like a Frankenstein monster.
Very much so, yeah. And so Gemma talks with Cole and Tess about Megan's, like, violent tendencies. And they're stressed the fuck out. They don't know what to do. And she says, okay, like, take her into the lab, do some tests, figure out if you can find out any evidence that she did that to those people, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this is the night of the launch party, and it's being set up in this building. They're putting on, like, a whole, like, thing. And there's these huge screens that are showcasing a video interview of Katie talking about her parents' death and her relationship with Megan and just kind of, like, showing Megan's capabilities, I guess, and, like, that whole backstory. And she's watching this, and Katie says something like, my favorite part about Megan is that she looks at me like
I'm the only
thing in the world that matters. I'm the most important thing to her, which clearly that's not how Gemma has been looking at Katie. And so Gemma gets choked up, and she starts to feel extremely guilty.
And then while this is going on, Katie has been in a therapy session. She is freaking out.
She grabs scissors and threatens to attack the fucking social worker with scissors.
Yeah.
And so Gemma walks in right at the right time and, like, tries to get her to stop. Katie bitch slaps her and Gemma, which was kind of funny. Because, again, the slaps in this movie. But then the social worker, like, she, like, asks the social worker, like, hey, can we have a moment alone? She's able to calm her down. Katie apologizes. And then she apologizes to Katie for, like, how she's been dealing with
she
it.
tells Katie, you're allowed to feel this way.
Yes.
You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to kick and scream and yell all you want.
It's like they're finally addressing their
She's
grief and like
she's like,
processing
you lost
their
your
feelings.
parents. You should be freaking out. You should
Yeah.
be screaming. You should be angry.
And I am too, and I'm here with you.
Yeah, she's like, we haven't talked about it.
And I'm sorry. I should have talked to you about this. I didn't know what to do, but I'm going to be here for you now. You are my number one priority, and it's like a breakthrough moment.
And then, because the whole time for like the past like 10 minutes of the movie, she's been screaming how she wants Megan. She says, I just want my parents back.
Yeah.
So it's the first time she's kind of also like not thinking about Megan,
Yes.
which is good. So
she's
it's like,
processing her grief.
yes.
Yep. So Gemma decides to take Katie home, ditch the event, ditch Megan. She just wants to be with Katie.
Yeah.
She calls Tess and tells her to keep Megan in the lab and don't let Megan out. And we hear Tess being like, okay, sounds good, Gemma. But like, you can tell it is Megan, the AI, mimicking Tess's voice. And this kind of sketches out Gemma, but then she like doesn't think too much of it.
Yeah.
But we know there's shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
So we cut to the lab, okay? Tess and Cole are in the lab, and they realize something's wrong when all the lights begin to like surge, and they're looking through Megan's coding, and we see Tess's phone number had been entered at some point. So Megan had been the one to call Gemma earlier. Cole goes to like remove Megan from her cables. This was a really tense scene. And he's like one by one removing, and she's like staying still there. And then the AI starts to boot up, and Megan grabs him and chokes him up. She like wraps his neck around like a wire and like strangles him up, like hangs him by this like wire and straps it up.
Yeah.
And so Tess goes and she like uses like a wire cutter to like cut him down. Luckily he's fine.
Yeah, but Megan has gotten out at this point.
She caused like a gas explosion, like a
Yeah.
mini little gas explosion. But they're okay. But yeah, Megan has escaped. This is such an iconic scene. This is the scene that like was in the commercials. It's why we all wanted to go see this movie. It's so campy.
Yeah.
They're in this kind of like, it kind of looks like a hallway from The Shining. It's a red hallway.
It's really weird, but it's in the office building.
Yeah. Okay, so we see it's David. He's like leaving Gemma a voicemail, like, where the fuck are you? Where the fuck is Megan? He's freaking out. He turns the corner.
And Megan is right there.
It's giving very the twins
Yeah.
from The Shining when, turn the corner and there the twins are. She starts dancing. Let me describe her dance moves. The first she does like a little hip swivel body roll.
Yeah.
Then she does the kind of like Jimmy legs.
Yeah.
She's got like flapping her arms like a bird a little bit. And then she does like a Maddie from Dance Moms, like, I don't know, twirl, leap thing. Lyrical dance move.
Yeah.
She grabs the like sharp
Paper
edge
cutter.
knife from like a paper cutting device.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a machete.
Yeah.
And then she starts to approach David with it, starts chasing him. And it's playing this like campy rock music the whole time. It's great. Like, come on. Probably like one of the funniest scenes in a horror movie I've seen in like the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And she chases him down the hallway. The elevator is opening up.
And it's fucking Kurt.
Kurt's in there, and he, instead of like trying to save his boss, like just tries to shut the elevator doors.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, let me get out of this.
Yeah.
David is getting ready to get into the elevator, but Megan stabs him through the back. And so he's like cowering there away from her, and he's like, how could you do this? How could you kill somebody? Megan goes, I didn't kill anyone. You did, Kurt. And she starts to like spin this whole narrative, like she's
got jealous. You stole like she knows he stole.
She knows he stole her like coding or whatever
and sent it
to a rival
company,
which I think that's going to be the setup for the sequel.
Yes,
when we cover that.
Which I figured. I clocked that when we
watched it.
I was like, oh, that's probably what it's going to be.
They're setting it up.
They're going to have to fight off a bunch of them.
And it seems like in the sequel, they're getting Megan, the original Megan, like to help them.
Yeah.
She's like going to be like a good guy now.
Yeah.
That's campy.
Allegedly.
It's very like Terminator, the Terminator movies.
Yeah.
Is what it reminds me of. But yeah, so she spins this whole narrative and then she kills him and like stages it to be like a murder-suicide kind of thing by like putting his hands on the end of the machete.
Yep, and then stabbing himself with it.
Yes. Megan is able to get away unseen as everyone is freaking out at the sight of the bodies in the elevator.
Yeah. She steals, I'm assuming probably Dave's car.
It's like a cool sports car,
Yeah.
Lamborghini, I don't know. But like she's able to like hack into the mainframe,
Vroom, vroom.
drive away. If they had played Vroom Vroom by Charlie XCX,
Let's ride.
It really would have been a perfect movie.
It would have been so funny.
I want to see more edits like that, like more funny songs choices in the sequel.
Yeah.
I think that would really camp it up. So we're at Gemma's house. She has put Katie to bed, but she notices all the lights are out in the house. And Miss Elsie, the Amazon thing, isn't responding. And she goes out and she's looking out the window. Jump scare, Megan is playing at the piano. Like a piano ballad.
Like a piano now,
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
And Megan and Gemma have a total cunt off in this scene. Megan is saying shit like, how could you discard me like some old doll? I mean, Jesus Christ, I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
Gemma goes, you killed people. And she goes, oh, big whoop. Give a fuck.
She doesn't give a shit.
She does not give a
She
fuck.
doesn't even die. She's like, who cares?
Megan believes that she is what's best for Katie, and she decides to like intimidate Gemma. Gemma tries the old pin trick. Hey, Megan, look at this pin to distract her. But Megan grabs her arm, puts her in like a chokehold kind of
Bitch, I will
thing.
break your fucking arm.
She goes, you know something? You're exhausting, Jenna.
Gemma.
Sorry.
Gemma.
And she goes, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. But right then and there, Miss Katie calls out from the hallway for Gemma. And she tells her, if she comes into this room, I'll rip your head off. I swear to God. And they're like trying to dissuade Katie from entering so they can like continue fighting. But finally, Gemma is able to overpower Megan because she grabs a glass full of water and smashes it on her head and causes like Megan to like short circuit. Kind of. And like she, for a second, it's like, oh, she did. Then she like, comes back to
She's
life.
like, oh,
Shakes
that
it
was
off.
bad.
She shakes it off. And she begins chasing Gemma around the house. And she locks Katie in the room. She like rips the knob off the door. So Katie has to like escape through the window and then go around. Meanwhile, she chases Gemma into that like office lab garage type room. And they have this crazy showdown. Gemma is able to saw into Megan's head with a chainsaw or like a hedge trimmer.
Hedge trimmer.
Hedge trimmer.
It fucks up her hair.
She has like a Benjamin Franklin hairline going on.
It looks like Riff Raff from
Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror.
Yes.
That's what I thought it looks like.
Definitely. She has like a 5 head now. And
Well, it's like a 10 head.
10 head, yeah. And like some of her like androidy robot parts are like showing.
Yeah.
Katie walks in on them in this moment.
Megan's like basically like, I'm gonna kill you, and then like
She turns around, she sees Katie there, and she goes, oh, Katie, I didn't want you to have to see this. But now that you have, and she tries to convince Katie that giving Aunt Gemma a lobotomy with her pen, she's gonna take the pen and like jam it into her head.
Yeah.
And she says that is the best decision, and like then I can take care of you, and I'll be your caretaker, Katie, and it'll just be you and me. And Katie appears at first to be kind of going along with it. But then she says, there's another member of this family we didn't tell you about, Megan. And his name is Bruce. And we see she's wearing the gloves that control Bruce.
Yep.
So she is able to attack Megan and smash her up a little bit.
She
with
like
Bruce.
grabs her by the foot and then is holding her upside down, and she starts singing a Bing Crosby song.
Yeah. You gotta accentuate the positive.
What the fuck? And then she just rips her in half.
Like at the torso.
Yeah.
So her legs, it's like the scarecrow. Like my legs went over here, my head went over here. And Megan pops back out, kind of like Evil Dead style.
Yes,
or like
she's like
Resident Evil.
her upper half
Yeah.
is still alive.
Crawling towards the camera. That was scary. And then she attacks Katie and she goes, "You ungrateful little bitch." I like that switch up. Because there was that moment in Chucky, the original Chucky, where he started like cussing out the Andy, the little kid. And that's
like,
what
Andy's like, what the fuck?
Holy shit, yeah. Gemma saves Katie by bashing in Megan's head with Bruce's head.
Yeah.
And she like is exposing, like she takes off her silicone skin and like all of her like wireframe underneath, and there's like a microchip, like where her brain, her information is that keeps her alive. And the like pieces of Megan that are still working.
She's still functioning.
Very Chucky, right? Which, obviously was a huge inspiration for this movie.
Yeah.
It begins to strangle Gemma, but then Katie grabs a screwdriver and she plunges it into Megan's computer chip, destroying her and saving Gemma for once and for all. But did she?
Because when they're walking out, the police show up, and as they're leaving the house, we see
Miss Elsie, the Amazon Echo thing, it turns on by itself. So the end. Question mark, question mark, question mark. So that's Megan. That's the first Megan.
It's great.
It's so funny.
It's great. I remember, like, it was one of those movies where it like exceeded my expectation.
Me too. I thought it was going to be kind of dumb and stupid. I didn't realize it was going to have so much heart.
Yes. And just be so funny.
It's so fucking funny. So ludicrous.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's they
knew,
time.
like, the people who made it knew what they were doing.
They knew how fucking crazy this doll looked, too.
Yeah. They're like,
if she was not designed this way to kind of look like the Olsen twin with her little, like, khaki dress and, like, her weird fashion, it would not be as funny, but it is. And thank God.
So good.
I'm excited for the second one. Okay, yeah, well, that has been our coverage of Megan. We finally did it. I'm kind of surprised it took us this long.
I know.
But I'm glad we're doing it now when the sequel's getting ready to come.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Yeah, let us know if you want us to cover Megan 2. Let us know what you want us to cover in the month of July. We do have some ideas. In fact, let me see. So next week, Stevie, let's talk about this now. I want to ask you this now while we're live on the pod. 4th of July is next week. When I think of horror movies, when I think of 4th of July and horror movies, there's one movie that comes to mind.
I know what you did last summer.
I know what you did last summer.
Which is a
we
long
famously were so confused the first time we watched it.
And I think I would be confused the second time I watched it.
I know. It's really iconic, though. I mean, it's like one of the standout horror movies of the late 90s. And has a great cast.
Jennifer Love, huge tits.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr. I mean, come on. So I'm excited. We're going to cover that next week, I think. And I'm definitely intrigued to get into the killer reveal, because maybe if we talk it out,
we will be able to understand what the fuck is going on.
But I don't think so.
I just remember the first time we watched that, me and you were both like, who?
And they're remaking it this summer. Like, they're literally coming out with, like, a new reboot that's
maybe it'll make sense.
Girl, you know it's not gonna make sense.
Oh my god.
Oh, and the sequel has Brandy in it. The singer
Yeah.
Brandy, Cinderella. Oh my god. We should cover the sequel too at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Let's Scream. We hope you have fun with us at the toy company, learning all about Miss M3GAN. Please remember to follow the pod, like the pod, and leave a glowing review of the pod, of course. We are at Let's Scream Pod on all the socials. You can send us movie requests for future episodes. You can follow me at Parker_Will_C on Instagram.
And you can follow me at Stevie Nash 95 on Instagram.
Until next time, this has been
Let's Scream. Bye.